They belong to the demons now.
I would love to be bought by a demon.
Pretty embarrassing, actually. It's
This
just
one from
crazy.
0 to cannibalism
Which,
really quick.
Again, no trigger warnings.
That really killed any humanity that was left in my soul.
Man feelings.
The whole concept is so good.
Speaking of Iceland Barbarian,
Where was all the harem? Where's the hareming?
where's the rest of the fucking book?
Hi.
Hi.
Happy day. Saturday.
Someday in March. Who knows? It's fucking March. Can you believe it's fucking March?
It's weird. And it's not fucking March. It's just fucking March.
Well, who knows?
Currently, we aren't getting fucking in March. So
Listen, we are continuing March of craziness. We ended February with murder to flow into March because apparently March is for murder and mermaids. And we have kept that up apparently because on this wheel's spin, it chose a paranormal pick and it took us to the Red City and it took us to jail.
And because it brought me to the first page. Did this have a trigger warning listed?
So this book did not have a trigger warning, though I feel like it probably should have.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find one.
Perfect. Fabulous.
No, it just says,
This book, I felt
oh, good Lord.
I felt there was a lot of things missing from this book, like maybe the rest of it.
Yeah. Huh. I don't see a trigger warning list. I can't find one.
I didn't see one either. It did not have a trigger warning list.
It should have. It should have.
However,
I
it
am
did have
so
a glossary.
sorry.
It did have a prelude. It did have a prologue. It did have an epilogue. But it didn't have a whole story or a trigger warning.
I just need to read you.
Oh.
I don't know if this person read the same book.
Oh. Oh no. Already?
It's a 5-star review.
Oh.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
A really funny, heartwarming tale full of crazy demons, extraordinary circumstances, and a really wonderful happy ever after story. Yay. Where was the funny and heartwarming part of this book? There were some like little bits and pieces, but like overall, this was not
for
that.
For the record, this week we read Cry for Help by Michaela Haze. And no, I would not call this a heartwarming story. This was a paranormal romance about demons and a reverse harem romance. But no, I would not call it heartwarming.
I honestly would even like barely call it a reverse harem.
I would not either.
Okay. Where was all the harem? Where's the hareming?
Where's the rest of the fucking book?
I don't know.
I truly
I was
thought
having
we were
a
going,
really good time. Like
I truly thought we were going to get to the end and it was going to be like our special and it was going to leave us again and be like, oh, come back for the next book. No, that was just it.
Yeah, because it's a standalone, it even says.
So she does
have because it's weird because she does have a series that is the Red City series.
But this book needed more.
I know. But she does have a Red City, like a series based in it's called literally
Could
Red
we like
Series.
not complain for March? That would be great.
I know. And it's funny because Red City was actually it was either going to be Red City or it was going to be this book that I picked. And I picked this one. But for the most part, besides obviously the missing pieces, I had a good time. I just wish that there was more book because I was having a good time and I was like, okay, let's continue exploring these like different parts of this book. And then I was like, oh, where is the things I want though? Anyways, sorry.
Madeline Speck is in a women's prison for a crime she didn't commit. She is mute. people keep dying around her. That's what we know. So, between that and the foster family she's accused of murdering's relatives pushing for the death penalty, they're sending her to a red city. The prisons are overcrowded, and there has been a push to send more and more inmates to red cities to become demon playthings. So that puts Maddie on a bus with 9 other inmates, making the very long journey to the gate. Red cities are basically demon inhabited cities allowed, like where there is overflow. We got this
Basically
like
like hell, kind of, but like
kinda,
above hell.
yeah, they're just like little
Kind of like purgatory, but like also
but
not
little
like
dots of,
yeah,
yeah. We got
interesting
this
parts.
weird like beginning where it's like, oh, we were told how hell was like created, and then we were told how like it fell and became
What it is today.
what it is now, where they're kind of partially integrated with humanity. But it was kind of odd
Honestly,
where we didn't have
the thing
context.
is like the whole concept is so good. Like
It was cool, yeah. It was a little strange how it was approached in the beginning for me, just because we didn't have the background to absorb that knowledge yet, but that's why I kinda waited to be like, "No, this is what," you know? So once they arrive at the gate, the guard asks for inmates Speck and Higgins first, as they are part of a special order. So apparently that's Madeline. Without Maddie's voice to speak, another inmate with the last name Peck says rather smarmily that it must be her. She gives Maddie a snarky grin, walking towards the guard. The rest of them are brought to a room and explain that they will be going to auction. So again, I thought, okay, we're getting somewhere. You know, I love me a good auction, especially when it involves monsters. Which, if you haven't read that monster auction book by Poppy Astor yet,
the one that you and Angie keep talking about all the time.
yeah.
I thought you said I wouldn't like it and not to read it.
Oh yeah, JK. I forgot. But there's more of them. It's not just the one now. Okay, you wouldn't have liked the one because you're kind of weird sometimes with the monster form, and there's that one tiny little bit in the first one where he kind of screws her in his beast form. But like the rest of them, I don't think they did that. So maybe, yeah.
We keep getting books with people fucking people with knives. So like I feel like at this
I
point
think
I'm
well
almost
that's what I mean. I said that last year. I
true.
don't think I would have said that to you now anymore.
Wow.
I feel like you're pretty immune to things now.
Mm.
Well, not immune, but a little bit more, what's the word? Just less shocked, less triggered, just more blasé,
Yeah, I think still the only thing that
more
really
dead inside.
well, we know that. Listen, I even got more dead inside in 2025. So like that really killed any humanity that was left in my soul. But no, I think the only thing that really still triggers me is the blood thing and the weapons. I don't like the fucking people with weapons thing.
But
And
you've even gotten better about it.
I really don't like the blood is loop though. I can't.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So they get told that if a demon buys them, that they become that demon's pet. Solid. And with that, welcome to the Red City. They belong to the demons now. Yeah, yeah, that doesn't sound super tragic.
Well, and here's the thing too. When we learn what happens if you don't get bought by a demon, I would love to be bought by a demon.
So, yeah, I think it's like extenuating circumstances if you don't. I don't touch on it here. If you don't get bought by a demon, we learn later, they just put you to death.
Kind of. So there's that, but then also, so you go live in like the human area and you are not protected by anybody.
Yeah.
Because basically, if you're owned by the demon, you're protected by them. So like if
It's
people
just,
come at you,
yeah.
they can't just
Now
shank
you
you in the
belong to all
street.
the
But
demons.
now you are literally in a city with
You're not a
criminals.
privileged pet anymore.
Right.
You
Yeah,
are
you're still just a criminal surrounded by criminals who aren't being policed by anybody basically, and they'll
you're
just shank you to
everyone's.
death instead of having the protection of a demon. Where I would love to just be with a demon because listen, that sounds like fun. We have read multiple demon books at this point, and that just sounds like right up my alley.
right?
I'm already going to hell. I might as well enjoy it.
To get to the auction, they each get a sigil burned into their arm, which will then match their master when they get one. They also need to make it through a mud and barbed wire course to weed out the weak, which I thought was kind of odd, but you know, they all make it, though Maddie does get cut up by the barbed wire. Pretty sure they all probably do, but one almost doesn't make it, and Maddie has to untangle her from the barbed wire. The lady isn't even nice to her about it.
No, that
Oh,
lady's such
bitch.
a bitch.
Yeah. I thought that was going to go somewhere, like we were going to see her again later, but we did not.
I
So,
would have loved for her to help her, and then she dies.
so the people get them cleaned up and changed for the auction, and the inmates go in one by one, leaving Maddie. Apparently, they lost count because they forgot to call her, and by the time they realized, almost everyone had left. So the announcer called one last auction for her, randomly calling her Amy. Don't know where that came from.
Well, because
And
they
she,
don't know her name, so
I
they're just
know, but it was just
making
funny.
something up.
And she was sold to a table in the back. The announcer saying, sold to the flock. Whatever that means. Well, we know now, buddy.
It should be noted that she got sold for not a lot of money.
No, soup cheap. Soup
Well,
cheap.
because no one wants a mute,
No, right. They
and
thought
they
she
think
was
she's
defective.
broken. Yeah.
And almost everyone had left. So, yeah. Maddie is ushered into a room with the rest of her group of inmates, all of their sigils turning different colors. Maddie's turning red. It hits her that someone just bought her. But then she takes a breath and realizes she's always felt like property, being a ward of the state, bouncing from foster homes until she found the one she had been accused of murdering just before she turned 18. And she's been property of the prison ever since. She figures it's been about a decade, but it's hard to keep track of time in there. And now she's property of a demon. She could learn the rules, she can acclimate. She's been doing this her whole life. One by one, the inmates are collected by their buyers. Maddie's turn comes, and a very large man with black eyes and feathers in his hair asks her name and crimes. The announcer, who brought him, reads off the file of Mandy Peck, the inmate who took Maddie's place for the special order. The announcer tells her, let's go, and Maddie is exhausted and starving, so she's weak moving through the door. The announcer promises the demon, Stalis, that she isn't defective. He does not believe him. Stalis drives her to his home, located in the Human District. There are 9 districts in the Red City, 7 for each of the deadly sins, and then Human and Meat districts. The Human District is definitely more dilapidated than the Sins districts, and it is the Red District. They arrive, and Stalis gives her a block of cheese, which she inhales. Then she takes off her dress, assuming he will want payment.
Sorry, I'm just thinking about the cheese. And then every situation with the cheese.
Stalis, I mean, she just took off her dress and is they have a little bit of a connection. So he goes to kiss her, but then stops and scrambles to put back on her dress as 3 more demons come through the door. Apparently, Kame, Malthus, and Murmur weren't originally due home until the next day. Stalis has some explaining to do. Lucy! Oh, it's not good. They accuse him of spending the last of their credits to feed Stalis' savior complex. Stalis tells them her name is Mandy and she's defective. Ames signs a hello to her, and she quickly signs back that her name is Maddie and that she can hear them just fine, just not speak. The demons have a lot to talk about, so they show Maddie to her room so she can get some rest. The room has a bed with a mattress and pillows and everything. Maddie's thrilled by this. When Maddie wakes up, the house is empty. She wanders and snoops for a bit, and then she gets bored and cleans because while the house is tidy, it needs cleaning. She meets the neighbor next door briefly before Kame comes home. Maddie tries to ask him all kinds of questions about why she's there, but he shifts and asks why she killed her foster family. Apparently, Stalis reviewed the right file now. The last time Maddie spoke, she had wished them dead and then woke up to find them that way. So now she doesn't risk speaking. Malthus comes home. Maddie learns that they need a human. That's her. They can't stay in the Human District without at least one in the household. And That's kind of the poor place. Stalis jumped the gun when she was so cheap. Malthus tells her as long as she keeps the house clean and does household chores, that they will take care of her and protect her. The next day,
And maybe
Malthus.
probably don't eat that man's cheese.
Yeah. 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 Malthus likes human food, and that's why there was cheese in the house. None of the demons have to eat food, but Malthus just likes human food. So he was not a fan that she ate his cheese. The next day, Malthus suggests Stalis take Maddie to the city to get clothes. He reminds Stalis not to forget to feed her.
The
He
way
bought
they
her.
spoke about her, it was like she was a pet.
Well, I mean, she is.
I know she is. I just thought it was so funny. And he goes, "You need to feed her and
Yeah.
water her."
He bought her. He needs to take care of her. You didn't want this pet. You need to take care of it. As they leave, Stalis goes to kiss her again, which honestly seems kind of odd and out of place, but. And Maddie's into it until she's too into it and breaks it off. But Stalis takes some kind of offense to this because he thinks it's her saying, like, I don't want you. So he's like, man feelings. They go to the odd shop where the owner gets her clothes and informs Stalis that she has a metal allergy and has an infection from the barbed wires cutting her. The man requires Stalis to accept an invitation to a feast on the next full moon as payment. Wild times, man. The man tells them to see the tailor in the next room. They go. Maddie's wondering why they call their doctor a tailor. We still don't know. The tailor has her undress and get on the exam table. Stalis explains Maddie can't talk, and the tailor corrects him, saying she can, she just doesn't want to. Too much death, right? Being she. That's what it is. She's just basically like, shit. He knows what she is.
Just know.
Do we know what she is? Nope, nada.
I Googled it.
I did too.
So then I knew what it was. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And they do explain it
Yeah,
later on.
I got layers.
But
Yep.
I wanted to know right then. I was like, is this a real thing? Because I was like, did they make it up for the book?
So
They
I
did not.
mostly Googled it so I knew how to say it.
Oh, I Googled it because I wanted to know what this
Because I
before
figured the book was
they
going to
told
tell
us.
me.
Okay, so here's the
But
thing. I figured the book was going to tell us, but I have been burned enough in the past by other books that don't actually explain literally anything about what these people are. And so I Googled it just in case this was one of those, but they do explain it.
gotcha. No, I knew if I was going to have to explain this, I was going to have to know how to say it. So I Googled it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You could just say the Americanized version of it too.
I'm getting there.
Sorry,
Well,
sorry, sorry,
kinda.
sorry.
No, well, kind of. It's because it's different, but yeah.
Right, different but similar.
Yeah.
No, I know. I was just
But
I
I didn't know
Googled.
that until, right. Do we know? Nope. But Maddie hopes Stalis doesn't know what a bean she is. When they're finished with the tailor, Stalis brings them to the Pink District, which is Lust, because he has an errand that he needs to run. He has a meeting with Asmodeus. Apparently, they're missing humans. Do we know more about this? No,
Basically, humans are going missing.
but we know that there's more going missing, right? They learned that two more missing, and that number two makes you think that, oh, is it the two from the bus? But when they get back home, Maddie decides that she can't risk it. If Stalis were to let anyone know what she is, it wouldn't be good, and so she decides to run. She climbs out her window and walks further into the human district until eventually she sees a bar and goes in. The neighbor who she met before, Amy, is there and recognizes her. Amy is there with her friends and has Maddie join them. They drink until Kame and Murmur come to retrieve Maddie, because their
My
pet got out.
my favorite thing too though is like as she escapes, she realizes this was actually a really terrible idea.
Yeah.
This was a bad decision.
It's like, fuck. And then they just come for her, just like, okay. They tell her Stalis has called a house meeting. But then once she's outside, the alcohol makes her brave and stupid.
Doesn't it? Ariel wouldn't know,
No.
but I know that it does make you brave and stupid.
And she books it. Kame catches her like super fast.
Immediately.
Yeah. And he tells Murmur that she's drunk. But then Kame taunts her again about being a murderer and how she could at least be upfront about trying to run away from them.
I liked him a lot, actually.
But the taunting in the beginning was really weird. I figured he'd be your favorite. He was very golden retriever. But, like, it was the taunting in the beginning is just really weird. She
He's
signs
a
how she
demon. I don't fucking know.
I
He probably just wants
know.
to fuck with her.
She signs how she hasn't killed anyone. He asks if, "Oh, she's innocent?" She asks why she was even bought, how no one has told her anything. But then he taunts her about running instead of answering. So she kicks Came in the balls.
Was this the
Murmur puts
heartwarming part of the book?
apparently, Murmur puts her over his shoulder and carries her home.
Okay, thank you.
He tells her that she's lucky he hasn't heard her voice yet. Apparently, hearing someone allows Murmur to know all about someone, or so he alludes. At the house, Stahl's demands Kame share his knowledge that he is done with his games because he's been clearly frustrated with Kame this whole time because Kame can interact with Maddie and he can't. Then just Kame walks up to him, marks him with a sigil, and now all of a sudden
It's so fun.
Stalas can
It's
sign.
just, and I just think it's so funny because it kind of shows that like he could have done that at literally any point.
That's why Stalas was so mad at him.
It's just so funny.
And it's funny because she makes a comment to one of the other boys later because Kame eventually does that to all of them. But he made the others like trade for it. One of them had to give up TV privileges in order to get the sigil for the knowledge.
So
And
funny.
they made a big deal because Stalis didn't have to. And they hinted at Kame and Stalis's relationship and how they had a different kind of relationship. My problem is we never saw that.
I know, and I'm disappointed because I wanted to see it so bad.
It really hinted that,
Yeah,
and
me.
not only that, but it hinted that all of them had a
Hmm.
relationship kind of like that to it, but each other, but that Kame and Stalis's were very just special,
Yeah.
and that they would all just kind of like fuck each other. And I'm like, well, why don't we get any of that? Like, it makes me real sad. But
Sad face.
big fat sad face. So yeah, so he marks him. So now he knows ASL. You know, easy as that. Wish that would be that easy just to kind of download languages. Kind of like Ice Planet Barbarian download
Right?
languages.
I
Zap.
would
Like,
love that so much. It would so great.
speaking of Ice Planet Barbarian, so I'm sorry, tangent. Like I said, I've been slowly making my way through them because
Hmm.
I know I'm going to
You want to
catch
live in
up.
that world.
Right. And I know I'm going to catch up because the last time she put out a book was in October. And there isn't even one on her working on right now. So, like, who knows when the next one's going to be.
Right.
So, and I only have 3 left. So, after, so that you have your Ice Planet Barbarians, and then you have your spinoff into Ice Home. Then you have your spinoff into Clones. And I am in that world right now. And it just keeps getting wilder and wilder. Do I care that it's wild? Absolutely not. Do I just want to live there? I like to live just in my little happy place.
Me too.
Yeah. If you're on a nice Planet Barbarian journey, let us know where you're at.
And if you're not,
Live
maybe
you
you
should
should
be.
start.
Yeah. So Stalas asks, now that he can sign, Maddie why she left. Maddie tells him because he knows what she is and that he can't have her magic. We don't know what that means. The flock used to be demonic royalty, but Lucifer had a tantrum because they weren't a part of the original rebellion, but got swept up in the fall. And so they ended up in hell, but as now royalty, but not really loyalists to Lucifer. So he stripped them of their like major magic assets and turned them into stone.
I mean, it got some political, and imagine if people got turned into stone for like being against the government. How
Mm.
wild would that be?
And then Lucifer went missing, who they're thinking he's dead, but we didn't ever figured anything about that either, before he could fix it and turn them back. So none of them are at full power, but lucky for them, or I guess unlucky, depending on which way you think about it, the stone broke when Lucifer went missing. So now in the Red City, they're kind of like undercover working for the human government to bring down a trafficking ring. They also have a deal with Asmodeus for
Demons with the
protection.
heart of gold.
They're from heaven, don't you know?
True facts.
Um,
Well, listen, if I have learned anything, typically
they
the
were just
angels
kind
are
of
the
in the middle.
problem.
They didn't really have a side, so that's their problem. They
Right.
were just kind of
Well,
middlemen.
in a lot of things that I have watched and read and learned, the angels are actually the problem.
Yes, and this is just another point of you can't just sit back and do
And
nothing. You need to pick a
Lucifer was
side.
very misunderstood, okay? Lucifer is a good man.
And you really need to sit and you need to pick a side. You can't just sit back and do nothing in any situation.
Hmm.
Anyways, so they also have a deal with Asmodeus for protection in exchange for information. He explains all this to her and, cool beans. The day of the dinner party in Gluttony that Stalis clearly is not happy about going to comes. The doorbell rings as he's getting ready. It's Amy and her friend Darla, who was at the bar the other night. They invite Maddie to a party gushing about how some royalty is going to be there, some demonic royalty. Like actually, not like their fake ass. Stalis says he and Murmur will go to the dinner in Gluttony, and Maddie can go to the party with Cain and Malthus in Envy. At the party, Asmodeus makes an appearance, which is odd because she supposedly isn't able to enter the Red City without consequence, which is why she uses the flock. Malthus says this is bad, that something is wrong. They need to leave. Asmodeus' lust magic is too strong in the air, and it causes Maddie to squeak out a giggle as Malthus leads her out. She can hear the screams start as she starts to seize and blood pours from her nose and mouth. I'm just going to say, none of this
This
all
shit
made
got
sense.
wild.
It got wild fast, but none of it made sense because it never was fully explained. But we'll get there. Like some of it was, but some of it wasn't.
Yeah.
Malthus rushes her to the car where Cain is waiting. Apparently, Asmodeus had Cain kill off the gluttony dude Biam's assistant who was at the party spying.
I'm sorry. Every time you say his name,
Biam?
came
Oh, Cain.
my brain when that sentence you just said. She had came. She had came.
See, I try so hard not to say Cain every time because every time I want to call
Every
him
time my brain
Cain.
wants to say came, Kane too, but
Yeah.
came.
So
Yeah,
apparently
he came all right.
Asmodeus
Sorry, I'm done.
asked Cain. There we go. Is that better?
It's not even the way you're saying. It's just his name in general. It has nothing to
Right.
do with
No,
the
no,
way
I
you're
know. That's
saying
why I
it.
reworded the sentence. I
I
asked
don't
if that
care.
worked
Word the
better.
sentence as much as you want because hearing that they came is fucking hysterical.
As
And
they
for the
drove,
record, this is not the same as you making fun of me for saying Cullen.
hey, you said it right that time.
That's how I said it the entire time, you idiot bitch. I'm just kidding. I love you.
As they drive, Maddie's unconscious body starts to scream. They all wake up in a car wreck. Cain and Malthus's eardrums not doing well. Maddie shocked that they're even alive. Apparently, Cain setting that man to splat off the roof, his death triggered the scream. She only screams when they die. But it made it sound like her talking was triggering the deaths.
Okay,
That's
so
why
so there I think in her brain because it doesn't fully like I'm trying to think because they kind of explain it and it made sense to me. But I also think in her
it
head
was just
now
in her head.
because of what had happened
Yeah,
previously when she made those comments to her foster parents and then the triggering event of them dying, that's why she doesn't speak anymore because I think in her head the trauma, she thinks that if she makes a sound, it triggers death. I guarantee you it does not, but
right.
because of
That's
everything.
that's
But
what I thought it was too, but I just
it
wish they
just happened to
explained
be
it.
I think that's how I kind of like interpreted it. Anyways, and I think that everything that was happening to her was just so fucking coincidental in the fact that she made a noise and then everything had started, but realistically it was just happening at the same time. So like he was going through with that and she just happened to really coincidentally make a noise. So it just continues triggering in her head like, fuck, I really should
Right.
not speak because or make any form of noise because this is what's triggering people to die. And it's just it's interesting.
Yeah. And that's I wish that we had, like, a fully fleshed out book and we could
Yeah,
explore
yeah,
some
yeah,
of that a
yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have more of that,
I
but,
read a
like,
comment, or actually quite a few comments, that this was just kind of like a one-off from her regular world, and
from the Red City world because she has a Red City world book.
kinda, yeah, they were making reference to when she writes her regular books in her regular series,
Mhm.
she's
It's more
actually
fleshed.
yeah, it's really fleshed out, and so then going from those books to this, they were all like, "What the heck? This is not
Gosh.
her normal."
Well, so that's what we found that with like a couple different authors that's happened where this is like kind of off of their normal
I think oh,
thing.
yeah, we were, like, reading a holiday book or something, right? And it was just like, "Well, wait, what?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've read a couple of them that are like that. So, I mean, I kind of like dig this world a little bit, and I kind of want to
Yeah,
like
and
I
that's what I
want to
mean.
look
I
into those
I was
Red City
into it, I
books.
just was sad that we didn't get all
Yeah,
the it was just so unfulfilled, you know what I mean? It
yeah.
was so but
Anyway, sorry.
no,
Off on tangents.
it's okay. This is well, yeah, the 2025 is a wild ride. So they take a bus home, eager to clean off the blood and grime. Malthus takes the shower first, while Kame tries to get her to explain the screaming thing without luck. She's distracted and doesn't hear the shower anymore, so she goes to take her turn, but instead walks in on a very naked Malthus. She scurries out.
He's very naked and very much touching
Oh,
himself.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. He catches up with her in the kitchen along with Kame, who asks again about the screaming. She tells them, talking because they didn't die, so she's hoping that it's because they're demons and she can actually talk to them. So she tells them that she's a beansheet. Kame asks, like a banshee? And she explains that her kind scream in the presence of death, and that they mostly hide as they are a hunted species. When they reach a certain age, they can claim their home and it becomes their base. They can't leave for long, but they can sense all within that space life, death, emotions, that people hunt them for that. Since Maddie never really had a home, she has not had a claiming. How something has been hunting her family line. It killed Maddie's mother and her foster family she's accused of murdering. And she kind of is like, yeah, it's kind of like the what humans think a banshee is, but she's fae. She's a fae.
Yeah. Yeah. It's similar but different
It's a
enough.
right. It's a type
Yeah,
of
yeah, yeah. It's kind of dope though. Like I'm not gonna
yeah,
lie. But like and that's the problem is like because of the it being more than just a banshee, like they are like wanted
yeah,
because they as we'll see, like they really like control a lot and can take care of a lot. And it's honestly like if I was in that position, that'd be so fucking overwhelming. Like being able to take care of everything in
yeah,
that whole thing. Yeah, you kind of get worshipped as like a deity person, but like at the same time, like their job is to basically take care of everybody.
yeah.
And
You are now the mother of
that is
Batman.
so overwhelming. I would have not
No,
wanted a home either. That's too much work. And that's why
well,
when
it's just she's never had a safe place that she could have as a home.
and of course she always was like, I thought I'd just like I'd be cool with just like having a cabin. Just like
Right.
housing a
Well, and her
cabin.
mom had like a simple little house, and but she was eaten.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's crazy. Too much power.
yeah. The demons try to distract her from the conversation and bring up Malthus's walk-in. Kame makes a quip about how she knows that he's snooped in his room and seen his collection, and yes, she saw his giant dildo.
This escalated. I was like, wait, where the fuck did all this come from? I was like, did I miss something? I'm like, maybe Ariel will tell me that I just missed some things and
Nope.
skimmed because all of a sudden, out of nowhere. And you know what?
It was like, oh wait, we have to have sex in this book somewhere.
Yeah. No
Because
buildup.
when we got to the end, I was like, was there even sex in this book? Oh yeah, that was that one scene. Yeah.
I thought there was like
The
one and
epilogue,
like a
but
half, one and
yeah,
like a half a scene.
the epilogue weird one, yeah.
Yeah. I was really into
Um,
the story that I forgot that I was supposed to be
I know
reading
it was
that.
telling us at the end that I was like trying to rate
I
things
was
and I
like,
was like,
wait a
oh wait,
second, hold on to shit.
yeah. Maddie asks if the dildo is true to size. And Malthus says that demons can be any shape that they wish.
And can I just state that they did my favorite thing that's in the Ice Planet Barbarians, and there was a nub, and I was so excited about the little nub.
Malthus thinks that they should see if she's ready for that. And then things escalate real fast, like Crystal says, and
Oh my God.
Malthus kisses Maddie, his hand sliding underneath her towel because she's still in her towel from heading for the shower. And he fingers her. Maddie pulls down Malthus's pants, and then she sucks his demon dick. Well, what she can fit in her mouth. Kame removes his own clothes and gets behind Maddie and fucks her from behind as
And
she
he
sucks
rails her.
Malthus's dick. Yeah,
Yeah. So she gets spit roasted.
yeah.
A good old fashioned spit roast.
It's just real
In
fast.
hell. Well,
Yeah.
in partial
And
hell. In the Red City, baby.
the three of them wake to Murmur in his bird form. The flock. Ha 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 ha. They all have bird forms.
It took her
He's,
way too long to understand this. Even when
yeah.
she was presented with, she goes, "You're what? Fuck?" It makes sense.
He's
It's funny.
tapping on the window, clearly battered and beat up. He tells them that BM has Stalis before he passes out. Once Murmur wakes, Maddie showers while the men talk. Apparently, BM is not trafficking humans as they were hoping their trip would be fruitful. He is trafficking sheep instead and using their magic. They tried to get the women out, but Stalis was captured. They're wondering if maybe Maddie should go with them because maybe she could be protection for them instead of them protection for her, which Kane feels like is pretty embarrassing, actually.
I fucking love that part because, well, that's embarrassing.
They go to BM's mansion in Gluttony and let themselves in. They split up, Murmur leading Maddie to the room that had the buffet, the food still half on the table. It's the two inmates from the bus that went to the special assignment. The one who took Maddie's place is long dead, but the other, the she, is missing parts, and the life is quickly draining from her. Maddie urges Murmur to do something, to help, as the woman succumbs to her death and Maddie starts to scream. When she wakes up, it's in a cell. Stalis and BM approaching. BM taunting that a snack has come to his door. She signs to Stalis. He tries to sign back, telling her Kame and Malthus are in the cell next to hers, and BM is making a new drug with she blood and obviously eating she. BM tells Stalis to put Murmur's body in with her. He does as BM opens the door. BM talks about how he's going to sample her and Stalis should join him. How just a sample of she can satiate a gluttony demon for a while, which
This
is
one from
crazy.
zero to cannibalism
Which,
really quick.
again, no trigger warnings.
That okay, just a heads up, guys. There's cannibalism in this book. Because he's not talking about eating her in the fun way. He's talking about eating her in the Jeffrey Dahmer way.
He's the gluttony demon.
Sorry.
I saw a TikTok
God.
that it was this lady who bought Disney princess face masks for her daughter off Temu.
Mhm.
And it was literally the princess's face with like the cutouts.
Oh, that's creepy.
So it looked like their faces were melting on your
That is
face.
so
And all the
creepy.
comments were basically like, what in the silence of the lambs? Or it puts the lotion on its
On its
skin. It
skin
was
or
like,
else.
it just, the comments were great.
That's
It
that's
was like,
so
what?
wild.
And then there was like, what in the Dalmar's this? Like, it just kept going. It was
That's
just,
so crazy.
yeah, yeah. He tells him how Stals's alchemy skills could refine his drug, known as sugar, and make it so much more effective. B says, I don't even know how to say that. Behem?
Well, I mean, his name ends up as Behemoth, so
Behem. Yeah, that's why I was saying Behem, but Hem,
it doesn't
Behem.
matter.
He says he will return soon and
The
hope
giant bee.
that,
The giant fat ass.
that he will agree and locks
Um
them in. Once they're
Demon
alone,
Jeffrey Dahmer. There you go. Sorry.
Maddie accuses Stalls of selling her out. He assures her that he didn't, that this is the trafficking ring they were looking for, though it's much worse than they thought. Maddie asks if the government will rescue them and asks if he can send them word. Bitch, do you think the government's gonna rescue anyone? Like, never, first, never mind. Stalls admits that he may have embellished their role in the case, which now I want to know what they actually do for jobs and how they actually make money. Because if he embellished, like, that was his answer to her, but, so many holes. He tells her she should get some sleep. When she wakes up, They can hear Kame and Malphus next door and ask them to change forms and move to their cell. Bitch, you should have just flown and like rescued them or something. Get the keys, something like not just fly back into their cell. Are they stupid? They have big dicks, so they can't be smart. Is that what's up?
Big old demon dicks.
Oh, good lord.
Sorry.
Murmur is not doing well. He's like on the brink of death. Beham, 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 Beham. Thank goodness you're not doing this episode because the ending would be fucking wild. Beham returns asking why Asmodeus is on his ass about a bunch of missing nobodies. He walks towards Maddie and Kame leaps on Beham's back, saying, "Run." Beham flings Kame into the wall. The rest of the men go after Beham, trying to give her a shot. She gets through the bars, but Beham is fighting them off. Beham starts to grow as he takes out the men. Maddie tries to take a bar to him that was broken in the fighting, even though it's burning through her because she can't be near iron. It's no use. Nothing is working. And she can only summon a scream in death, so Kame takes a fallen bar and plunges it through his own neck. Maddie rushes to him. As Beham is growing so large, he is breaking the building. Maddie tells Kame to take it out and heal. He's a demon for crying out loud. He tells her he's got to go. She needs to claim the city and kick Beham out. She can feel his life force slipping, and she lets out the scream. And then she becomes the cliche version of a banshee, which is probably where the whole theory of a banshee came from when she are doing this claiming thing. As her hair and nails and teeth grow and her eyes turn black, Maddie's body is lifted up through the hole giant Beham created into the sky. She starts to chant in Gaelic, a phrase her mother used to say when she wanted to be home. "There's no place like home. There's no place like home." Minus the ruby slippers, you know. And then she feels the Red City, her Red City. She banishes, beat him out of it. Then she hears Kame's voice in her head telling her it's time to come down now. And then everything goes black. Then we have an epilogue. Maddie and her flock meet with Asmodeus and Beelzebub, who is supposed to be in charge of the behemoth. They are removing the gluttony districts from all the red cities. They cannot be trusted. And Beelzebub will owe Maddie one favor. Do we know what happens with that? No, not at all. Kame, Stalis, Malphus, and Murmur throw a party and say they're claiming Maddie back, that they can form soul bonds. Then they line up and take turns fucking her like a train. That's our story.
Quite literally, because each one of them pushes their cum back into her after they come. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. You're basically a cream pie now.
Yeah.
Banana cream pie. A Twinkie.
Yeah.
Sometimes being a Twinkie is better than being a toaster strudel.
She was quadruple stuffed.
She was a quadruple stuffed Twinkie.
Yep.
And Twinkies, as we know, survive apocalypse. So, makes sense.
You know, Red City, baby.
And that's
Yeah.
the book, baby.
Yeah, that is the book. Goodness gracious.
Who's your favorite character?
Which one did the drugs? Malphus or Murmur?
It was Murmur.
I liked Malphus then, the one with the food. I couldn't remember which one was which, so I didn't want to say the wrong name.
Malphus was the food, Murmur was the drugs.
There you go. So I liked Murmur, but I wanted to know his backstory and I got nothing. That's
Mhm.
what's the problem with this book. We had so much, it was literally, we had concepts of a plan, but no execution of a plan. So many concepts, little
Yeah.
execution.
Oh my God. Yep.
Huh?
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
I liked Kame.
I figured.
I just liked him a lot. It wasn't even just the golden retriever energy. It was literally everything. Apparently I'm just in love with a demon, so.
I'm in love with the demon.
Banana. Okay, we need to
Yeah.
not do that.
What was your least favorite character?
Well, the dude who ate the people,
The behemoth dude?
behemoth dude, and
The hen, behem, whatever.
mm-hmm. Anya
Yeah.
and
And
God.
Darla? What?
I said God.
Oh, I was saying Darla.
Yep, you said Darla, I said God.
Sure. Yeah. Or Nova, as they call her.
Because It was God's fault. All of this was God's fault. So, anyways. Darla too, yeah. Well, so Amazon gives this a 4.1 and Goodreads a 3.5.
What did you rate it?
A 3.
I also gave it a 3. I was into the concept of the story.
Mhm.
I just wish it was fully
More.
executed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I don't like to get to the end of a story and say, "Where's the rest of it?"
Yeah. Understandable. I got you. What's next? What else do we do?
Cucumber.
Okay. Nope. Pepper scale. Because we
Yeah,
don't do
pepper scale.
cucumbers
Yep.
anymore.
Spice, you know what I meant?
Uh,
Spice, spice, baby.
I was probably gonna go with like a jalapeno, maybe.
I am
I don't know,
going
maybe
to
serrano.
say a poblano
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
because we barely
That's true.
got one full scene and we got like kind of like a half of another scene.
Okay.
So I'm going to say a poblano. I don't
Okay.
think it got to a jalapeno.
Okay.
And everything was written very fast without much super detail.
I think I was only going a jalapeno because of the spit roast and then the train.
That was great. I just wish we actually had some detail to it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like, this is what happened.
Not wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Right. Literally what we said might have been the entire scene.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, I get it. So, survivability.
I think it'd be fine.
I'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd have a great time.
Yeah. Having a good time.
Having a good time. Yeah, I'd have a great time. Jump on that demon dick. So, with that, we need to figure out what we're reading next.
Yes.
Well, let me pull up the wheel and let's spin and see what we got. So, are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's spin it and see what else is gonna happen. 'Cause
What else is gonna make our lives interesting?
we are reading
Oh my
Ravager.
god. So
Oh,
this
good
just
Lord.
this month is truly for murder, apparently. Maybe we just were, like you said, in a murdery mood when we made the wheel. I'm not sure. But Ravager by Karina Hale is a Viking romance. That was the stipulation to put it on the wheel, but it is a dark Viking romance. All Shireen Cadet had ever known is desperate circumstances, crushing poverty, cruel servitude, and no hope of escape.
Oof.
When a band of Vikings attacks the estate where she lives, her old life goes up in flames. On the verge of death, she's rescued by an unexpected savior, Eric the Axe, second in command of the Viking fleet. Yep, this book is
Yeah.
about Eric the Axe.
Love that for us.
Eric claims her
Does
as a
Eric have a
spoil
big
of war.
axe?
I hope so. Probably. It is a book after all. Eric claims her as a spoil of war and takes her back to his leader. Take me to your leader. Rolf the Walker. Who the fuck names these people? Eric is dark and sensual to Rolf's brutal and commanding. Oh, we have two men. Cool.
Oh.
Subject to the whims of both men, Shireen is once again left with no choice and no hope. She'll have to discover her own warrior spirit before the desires of these two men leave her burned down to ash like the life she left behind. It says Vikings Valhalla meets Hooked in this dark Viking romance.
Listen, I love Hooked so much. If you like your
Solid.
heroes morally gray, ruthless, and looking like a Skarsgård, be ready to be ravaged.
Yeah.
Ooh, baby.
Oh, look, there's a content warning in this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess apparently we are continuing on with Murders and March. So, join us next week and make sure to keep reading.
And keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.